Welcome to the Bold Becomers podcast. I'm Cara Janae, Audacity Coach and founder of the Live with Shine Collective. I help women of faith move from the background to the forefront of their lives by embracing godly authenticity, knowing that they are both a masterpiece and a work in progress. Many people believe authenticity is just about being yourself. And while that takes courage, godly authenticity is about becoming who God created you to be. It's about holding space for your growth, embracing your full story, and stepping boldly into the purpose that He's designed for you. This podcast is your safe space to break through self-doubt, own your story, and move boldly in faith, because you were made to shine. Let's step into it together. Sometimes we wait for help to come. We tell ourselves, if I just push through, maybe things will get better. But what happens when the help that we need isn't just about waiting? It's about making the decision to seek it, embrace it, and express what we truly need. After having Cece, I found myself in a space that I hadn't fully anticipated. I was feeling the weight of postpartum symptoms, and for a while, I just tried to manage it on my own. But then something in me shifted. I realized that I didn't have to wait for someone to come save me. I had the power to choose my yes, to prioritize my mental and physical health, and to get the support that I needed. So I did. I reached out. I made the decision to seek help and to give myself permission to put my well-being first. And something beautiful happened. When I shared this with a friend, it wasn't just freeing for me. It was also freeing for her too. Hearing my story gave her the encouragement that she needed to offload some of the overwhelm that she had been carrying and to finally ask for support too. And that's what today's episode is all about. Amplifying your yes. It's about recognizing that your yes isn't just a private decision. It's something that has the power to ripple forward and outward, to inspire others, and to create space for alignment and overflow. Up until this point, we talked about discovering our yes, learning from past decisions, and navigating growth with clarity and purpose. But today is something different. It's about what happens when your yes becomes more than a choice. It becomes the way that you show up in the world. This is about amplifying your yes, elaborating, enlarging, and expanding it so that you can step fully into the life that God is calling you to. So I ask you, bold becomer, are you living your yes boldly, or are you still hesitating to express it fully? In this episode, we're going to talk about fully embracing your yes. No more second guessing or shrinking back. We're also going to talk about boldly expressing your yes through your voice, your actions, and your influence. And then we're going to talk about living in godly authenticity so that your light and your life shines just as God intended it to. But before we get started, it's time for our bold declaration. I am embracing my yes. I no longer shrink back or hold myself small. I move with boldness and certainty. I walk forward in confidence, knowing that I am fully aligned with the yes I have cultivated. I make space for the blessings attached to my yes, trusting that the seeds I have sown will yield a bountiful harvest. I express my yes unapologetically, embracing the journey with faith and expectancy. Today, I boldly declare, I freely embrace and fully express my yes. Let's explore why some may still be struggling to amplify their yes. I know that when it comes to choosing a new yes, no one sets out thinking that they're going to continue to move with hesitation or timidity when it comes to operating in their yes. But I also know that there are some struggles and some barriers to moving in an embraced and expressive yes. So let's talk about some of that. Here are some common barriers to amplifying your yes. Fear of judgment. It's where you start to ask yourself, what will people think if I show up fully? Imposter syndrome. This is where you start to ask yourself, am I really qualified for this yes? Past mistakes holding you back. This is where you ask yourself, who am I to say yes when I've failed before? Lack of boldness. This is where you say to yourself, I know my yes, but I don't know how to take up space with it. And then finally, comparison and self-doubt. This is when you start looking at how others are embracing their yes, and then you begin to feel inadequate. But I would just like to remind you that Matthew 5:16 tells us, let your light so shine before men that they may see your good works and glorify your Father which is in heaven. Your yes is meant to shine. And when you dim your light out of fear, you are withholding the very thing that God created you to express. Which of these barriers have been keeping you from fully stepping into your yes? I just want to challenge you to write it down in your journal, because this is definitely an opportunity for God to help you navigate through overcoming this barrier. If you've been following along with us in this first series of the Bold Becomers podcast, then you know that we have been incorporating one of the 5 principles from my proprietary coaching method called the Shine Method. And we have finally gotten to the 5th principle of the Shine Method, and that is embrace and express. I just want to incorporate how embracing and expressing your yes fits into your growth journey. When you talk about embracing, it means that you are owning your yes with full confidence. You're not just trying to be the person that chose the yes. You now are the person that has chosen the yes. And when we talk about expressing, we're talking about living out your yes unapologetically. And so once we incorporate this final principle of embrace and express into choosing your yes, you have now completed not just the shine method, but you have completed a iteration of your growth journey. And so I'm going to run down how all of these tie together for you, especially when it comes to choosing your yes. So when you take the first principle of the shine method, which is seek the truth, you recognized your yes in this step. With the second principle, honor your story, you acknowledged what shaped you. When you include the lessons, you learned and applied wisdom. And then you began to navigate your growth, which means that you committed to action. And then finally, in embrace and express, you amplify your yes to the world. One of my favorite stories in the Bible is the story of Moses. And I think that there is something that we can glean from a part of his story that applies to what we're talking about today. That is in Exodus 4:10 through 12. At first, Moses hesitated to embrace his calling. He questioned God and said, "Who am I to speak?" But once he embraced and expressed his yes, God amplified his influence to lead an entire nation. The lesson that we take from this is that your yes is not about perfection, it's about obedience. And hey, if this resonates with you, I want to invite you to stick around. Be sure to subscribe so you don't miss a single episode. And share this podcast with another woman of faith who might need encouragement. We're building a community of bold becomers here, and I'd love for you to be a part of it. Here are some practical strategies for you to embrace and express your yes. I want to equip you with the ability to not just amplify your yes, but to amplify your yes with confidence. So, step number 1, it's important for you to reaffirm your yes daily. This is where we incorporate the practice of affirmations or declarations. It's one of the reasons why we do a bold declaration at the beginning of every episode, because there is power in your words. So one of the ways that you can incorporate this is to say, my yes is valuable. My yes is divinely appointed. And my yes is non-negotiable. This keeps you centered in the fact that you're not only choosing a yes, but that the yes that you've committed to is worth holding on to. It's worth setting boundaries for. It's worth freely and bravely expressing it. Step 2, you need to take up space with boldness. It's okay for you to speak up in rooms where you used to shrink back. With this new yes, there should be a bolder you. There should be a braver you. And even if you don't fully have the confidence that you feel you need to have, you still need to operate as though you do have it. And it's not about faking it until you make it. It's about understanding that building confidence is like building muscle. The more you practice it, the stronger you get at it. I also want you to understand that saying yes in a way that is expressive also means that you're going to say yes to some things that start to stretch you. So, as you embrace and express, you are learning to take up space by stretching yourself beyond what you used to be. And that is not to say that you're trying to put yourself on parade or to showboat, but it's more so saying that it's okay for you to take opportunities and risks that align with who you are with this new yes. Step 3, it's time for you to stop hiding your gifts. Go ahead and post your content, launch your idea, and share your story. You never know who's watching, and you cannot afford to forget who is attached to your obedience. And you moving in obedience to the yes that God has called you to in this season, there are people attached to that. Purpose is not for you. Purpose is for others. Remember that. It's time for you to show up. Step 4, it's time to align your actions with your yes. So if your yes is being a leader, what are your daily habits to reinforce that? If your yes is pursuing a calling, how are you showing up consistently for that calling? I am participating in a 365-day challenge with one of the communities that I am a part of. And shout out to my coach, Coach Patrice. This challenge has really stretched me in such a way because I am learning what it means to not just be consistent, because I know what it means to be consistent, but it's about setting an intention and then showing up for yourself. I ask you in this step, hold yourself to making a commitment and start to align your actions with that. Step 5, build a community that supports your yes. It's time for you to surround yourself with people who speak the right language, who believe like you believe, who operate not necessarily how you operate, but with the same spirit that you're operating with. If you know that it's time for you to move into an aligned yes, you can't continue to hang out in crowds where people are used to you shrinking or comfortable with you shrinking. You have to come into community with people who are becoming. And that is why it's important for you to join spaces like the Bold Becomer Circle, where brilliant, amazing, talented, anointed women of faith come together, not just to hold each other accountable, but to hold space for each other and to celebrate each other and to support each other as you navigate your journey of becoming. And so I invite you, if you have not joined the Bold Becomer Circle yet, feel free to do so today. It is a completely free community that is available to the Bold Becomer podcast community. And you can sign up by going to carajaneshine.com/bold becomers and create your login and get plugged in with these amazing, amazing women of faith who are moving in purpose and moving as God is calling them to in this season. It's time for our weekly challenge. I am going to give you our challenge for the week. And I hope that you're journaling when you're listening to these episodes, or at least going back and jotting some things down in your notes on your phone, or just maybe putting it on a post-it note when you get home and maybe reflecting on it later. Here's your weekly challenge. I want you to write down one way that you will amplify your yes this week. And then I want you to share it with someone for accountability. And then lastly, go ahead and post it in the Bold Becomers circle with the hashtag #AmplifyMyYes. Know that you are ready, you are equipped, and your yes is not just for you. It's a part of something greater, and it's time for you to step into it boldly. Bold Becomer, I am so proud of you. Through this series, you have learned to evaluate your yes, to really get clear about what's aligned for you. And then you moved from evaluating your yes to cultivating your yes, getting clearer about what it is that you not only desire, but what worked for you in the past and what is no longer working for you as you move forward. And then we moved from cultivating your yes to commanding your yes, where you learned how to put your yes in action. And even if you didn't know how to do it to perfection, you gave yourself the space and you moved with courage and said, I'm just going to begin. But here in this stage, you have now learned how to amplify your yes, how to become unapologetic and to start showing up in your fullness. This is really what Living with Shine is all about. As your guide, I am grateful and I am excited about what God is doing in your life. I cannot wait to hear more about how your yeses are manifesting the things that not only you desire, but the promises that God has made to you. Hey there, Bold Becomer. Are you ready to take the next step in your journey to embrace godly authenticity and truly shine? I'm thrilled to introduce my book, Discover the Path to Shine, your guide to uncovering the foundational principles that will transform your journey from the background to the forefront. This isn't just another book. It's a roadmap for recognizing and breaking free from behaviors and beliefs that may be holding you back. Whether you're navigating challenges or seeking clarity in your purpose, Discover the Path to Shine offers the tools and insights to help you align with who God has called you to be. So, if you're ready to step into the light and live with the boldness that you were created for, grab your copy today. Visit CourageandAShine.com/discover or check the link in the show notes to get started. It's your time to shine. Amplifying your yes is about living in full alignment with what God has called you to. No more shrinking, no more waiting. Your yes is now. Amplifying your yes is about living in full alignment with what God has called you to. No more shrinking, no more waiting. Your yes is now. I want to encourage you to continue on your growth journey. Make sure that you are incorporating the lessons that we've gone over through this series. And if you happen to miss an episode, go ahead and go back and take a listen. I know that it will help you and give you actionable steps and tools as you continue to explore and create your own yes. We're building a network and community of bold becomers, and I am so grateful that you are a part of it. But don't keep it to yourself. Make sure to share it with someone else. I invite you to make sure that you subscribe and click on the notifications if you're listening via YouTube so that you can be notified every time a new episode drops. And lastly, would you do me a favor by sharing this episode on one of your social platforms, especially if it spoke to you. Now that we've talked about amplifying your yes, let's get real. One of the biggest reasons why we struggle to fully walk in our yes is because we mismanage our energy. We pour into things, people, and situations that drain us. And before you know it, we're running on empty. But here's what I've learned. I don't match energy. I match capacity. So next week, we're diving deep into why many of us feel depleted. Not because we don't have enough to give, but because we're giving in ways that don't align with our purpose or our shine. We're constantly matching the energy around us instead of operating from our true God-given capacity. So, if you've ever felt exhausted, stretched too thin, or like you're constantly reacting to the energy in the room instead of owning your space, you do not want to miss this conversation. Make sure that you're subscribed so you don't miss it. And in the meantime, take time to reflect. Are you matching energy or are you aligning with your true capacity? I'll see you next week. Until next time, remember to keep becoming, embrace godly authenticity, and live with shine. I'll see you next week.